dad used to bring home a lot of records, including James Brown records. And I know you're a great multi-instrumentalist. I know you have a great sense of creating different parts for songs.
Thank you.
And would you say James Brown's band is a big influence on that ability to kind of find every instrument's role when you're putting together a song? Are there any other particular people you would cite as like a arranging influence to you?
You know, that's a good question. I came to being a multi-instrumentalist in service of writing. I always wanted to be a composer. And one of the things I realized was you can write sort of with the flow of an instrument or against the flow of an instrument. Case in point, I was a grade school and high school trumpet player. And if the composer or the arranger knew the instrument, the stuff that you played that they wrote was comfortable on the horn, even if it was pushing the boundaries. If somebody wasn't familiar with the instrument, they would write things that were not so much impossible to play, because I think you can play anything, but just didn't sound great on the instrument, whether it was intervallic, like too big of a leap in too tight of a phrase, or whether it was simply off the end of the instrument range-wise. Yeah. You know, instruments have an upper and a lower limit, even pianos. And so I wanted to learn how to play instruments so that I could write for them. And I think the idea of doing it professionally as an instrumentalist wasn't what drove that. It was really more about, I want to be able to write a really cool drum beat, so I'm going to learn how to play drums, or I want to write a really cool bass line, so I learned how to play bass, or I want to invent a cool guitar lick, so I learned how to play guitar. And
it wasn't to take the guitar player's girlfriend?
No.
I'm just wondering how devious you might have been.
What do you call the beautiful woman on the arm of a banjo player?
Oh, I'm not sure.
A tattoo. You know, I love.
So you are from the Catskills.
Don't go back. We'll be right away. But you know, it was just a compulsion. And bottom line was, whenever I was in a band and they took a break, I'd go find an instrument and play it during the break, and I couldn't help myself.
Yeah,
it was just compulsion. But I think it led towards this idea that I'm sort of a composer first and a instrumentalist second.
Yeah.
And I had reached a point, flash forward many years later, where I was strictly making a living as a composer, and my playing was suffering because I was writing pieces for broadcast, whether it was TV or movies or advertising or whatever. And my chops as an instrumentalist were suffering due to lack of exercise. And one of the reasons I left that business to join the band I'm in now, Gov't Mule, was to get back into playing. And I got very, very lucky because the guys in the band were open to me being a multi-instrumentalist and trying different things on different songs. And we enabled each other. I helped the band expand away from the blues rock trio type of thing, and they helped me explore all these different instruments that I've kind of gravitated to over the years.
Yeah. Now, early on, would you say there was any big realizations you had as like a composer and arranger that kind of helped you understand how you liked the instruments to fit together? And did you ever get to a point where you kind of like, there are certain rules you found that you like to almost break as far as the conventions of the instruments?
You know, that would mean that I was focused on a particular idiom, and I'm just not musically dogmatic that way. I kind of love bleeding coloring outside the lines, so to speak.